My name is Madison Engel, and today I will be Siobhan's physical therapist. We are completing an Astrian cycle test, which is a submaximal test to obtain an estimation of her VO2 max. So we're completing this on a cycle ergometer today. And we have been hanging out here for about the past 3 minutes getting Siobhan warmed up at about 25 watts. She's been maintaining 50 RPM or revolutions per minute throughout this warm-up period. Before we started the test, we determined that Siobhan is a healthy, active individual, so we decided that her watts for her workload would be at 100. So we're just gonna ramp her up right now to 100 watts. And Siobhan, if you could still try to maintain that 50 RPM throughout this test, that would be perfect. So, while Siobhan is moving through this first stage, I'll tell you a little bit about the resting vitals that we took before we started this test. So, Siobhan's resting heart rate was about 74. Her resting blood pressure was 116/78, and her RPE, or rate of perceived exertion, was reported as a 6. So based off of those levels and those values, we can determine that Siobhan is in a low cardiovascular risk range. So she is a healthy, active individual. Those values are within normal ranges, so we can proceed with this exercise, and we'll know that we should expect a normal result with her vitals as she's moving through. And still doing okay here?
Yes, thank you.
Right on. So at about 2 minutes, so we're getting there, close to there, we'll take your first set of working vitals here. So I'll just start to get set up for that. All right, and Siobhan, I'll have you put your left arm on my shoulder and you can just relax it there. Back down. All right. And I will take your first set for your heart rate as well. So we measured her heart rate to be about 92 in that second minute. Her blood pressure is about 124/78. And Siobhan, if you look at this RPE scale, what would you say your rate of perceived exertion is?
I would say about a 10.
Okay. Right on. So, we'll have you maintain this workload for another couple of minutes. And at minute 5 and at minute 6, we'll be taking more measurements. And so I know that this is kind of an annoying, maybe sometimes uncomfortable procedure to have done, but not only are we looking for those submaximal heart rate ranges, but we're also trying to make sure that you are having a normal cardiovascular response to exercise. So if there were any values that were atypical, we would know to either stop the test or put you into a cool down, and we would manage that situation as necessary. And are you still feeling okay?
Yep, feeling good. Thank you.
Right on, and that seat height looks good. Your body mechanics are looking perfect. That was one thing that we did measure before we started the test. We measured the optimal seat height for Siobhan based off of the height of her greater trochanter. Right on, we're getting there, almost there.
Good.
So when we take those measurements in minute 5 and 6, we are looking for a little bit of a comparison for the heart rate. And so prior to the test, we had determined Siobhan's age-based maximal heart rate. And submaximal heart rate range to be between 114 and 152. So hopefully we'll start to see some of those numbers turn up in her vital signs. And then once we've had those two measurements that are within 5 beats per minute of each other, that's when we know that Siobhan has reached and will maintain that submaximal range and workload, and then we'll know that we can complete the test. So it looks like we're headed into about that 5th minute here. So we'll take another set of those 3 vitals. Can you just put your arm up? Thank you. Alright, and you can put that hand back down. Now take your heart rate again. Alright, put that hand back down. You're doing great, you're almost there. Alright, so the heart rate that we just measured, or rather the blood pressure that we just measured, is 130 over 176. That heart rate is about 125. And then Siobhan, can you look at that rate of perceived exertion scale again?
I would say about a 12.
Okay. Right on. So, with that heart rate measurement of 125, Siobhan has entered that submaximal range that we had calculated to be 114 over or 152. So somewhere in that range, 125 is right there. So what we're gonna do, you're almost there. We're gonna let you cycle for to the end of this minute, and then I'm just gonna take your heart rate and your blood pressure, or your heart rate and your RPE rather, and then depending on what that heart rate value is, if it's within that 5 beats, then we know that you have started to level out at that submax range. So I will take that heart rate put your hand back there, and what would you say that RPE is?
13.
About a 13?
13.
Okay, and we measured your heart rate to be at about 129, which again is not only within that submax heart rate range, but it is also within that previous measurement. It is within 5 beats. So what that means is you have successfully leveled out within that submax range, so we can begin your cool down. So again, still try to maintain that 50 reps per minute, or revolutions per minute rather, but we're gonna bring you back down to 125, let your body cool down for about the next 3 minutes or so. And I just want to let you know that once you're done with this cool down, we're gonna take your vitals again, before we then continue into a longer cool down stretching phase for you. And so, Siobhan, do you have any questions at all?
No, that was great. Thanks.
Okay, right on, awesome work. And like I said, we're gonna hang out here for